Just like when we do a camp, if you hear me, clap once. You hear me, clap twice. You hear me, clap 3 times. Great. Thank you so much all for coming and taking part in this great milestone of our dear son, Levi. Whenever we get together at such an occasion, it always reminds me of the famous debate that the husband and wife had in front of the rabbi. And the debate went as follows. The woman came to the rabbi and said, my son is only 9 years old and my husband wants to start the education for his bar mitzvah. But I think we should wait maybe a little bit longer. Actually, the husband said, I think I should wait a little bit longer. You know, when he gets a little older, maybe 11, maybe 12. And the husband, that's what the husband said. And the wife says, no, I think 9 years old is a good time to start. And the rabbi says, you're 9 years too late. Jewish education starts right when you're born. So the first education we have for a Jewish child, for a boy, is by the bris milah, by his circumcision. The next step of Jewish education is by his upshernish, when he turns 3 years old. And according to Jewish law, when he turns 3 years old, he reached the age of chinuch, which means Jewish education. And that's why today is the first time that Levi put on the tzitzit, the special 4-cornered garment that all Jewish boys wear, because he's now entering and the beginning of his Jewish education. And we begin with wearing a kippah. He's actually wearing a kippah since his bris. But now he's starting to wear a pair of tzitzit, and he's going to make sure to say the blessings on food in the morning, every time he wakes up, and every time that he goes to sleep, to say the Shema. This is the formal education of a Jewish child. And that's why we make a very big deal out of it. And one of the things for Jewish education is we highlight the fact that the Jewish child is like, we call him a man. He's not a child anymore, he is a man. The Torah tells us a man is compared to a tree. And just like a tree, the Torah tells us one cannot have any pleasure from the fruits of the tree for the first 3 years. The same thing also, we do not cut off the ear of a Jewish child, the Jewish boy, for the first 3 years. And today, he's going to get his formal haircut, almost looking like daddy, just without the beard. But he's going to have the peos, which is the side locks, to put on, because that is a mitzvah in the Torah. Just like in a field, the Torah tells us you have to leave over a part of the land which is called peah, which means a leftover. The same thing also on the Jewish head. You have to leave over a little bit, known as the peos, as the side lock. And this is the beginning of Jewish education. And that's why we get together. We don't just make a little birthday party, we make a great big celebration. And this great big celebration is only fitting that it's customary at all our great celebrations, at the bris milah, at the upshernish, and at the bar mitzvah. We invite great rabbis to come and join us. And today happens to be not only Levi's birthday, but today happens to be the birthday of the Lubavitcher Rebbe, Rabbi Menachem Mendel Schneerson, who every single person in this room was affected by the Rebbe. So today actually is a thank you that we all have to give to God for the great present that God has given us, is the Rebbe in this world, that the Rebbe has lived with us and showed us the direction and gave us the path for every single one of us to get more involved in spirituality, godliness. So it's really no greater day than we gather together today and we celebrate the Jewish education in the Chabad house, which is thanks to the Rebbe that we are here in Peoria, and thanks to all those, of course, that support us. But it was the Rebbe's vision to make sure that there should not be any Jewish community without a Jewish community center.
Thank you.
So we begin with reading the Rebbe's letter that the Rebbe has given to my father when my upshernish. So now, for those who want to know how old I am, 32 years ago is when my parents received this letter from the Rebbe. So it's customary to please rise as I read the Rebbe's letter that I received directly. My parents received from the Rebbe on the occasion of my upshernish.
Okay.
Can you write that down?
actually read the exact expression that the Rebbe used when it came to my upsherin. And of course, we believe that the words of a tzaddik, the words of a righteous man, lives on forever, and the blessing that the Rebbe has given me and to all those who have turned 3 years old, the upsherin, will also bestow upon Levi, especially on the day when it's called Mazle Gover, the great mazel of someone's birthday is shining forth. It would be even greater. I'll read it in Hebrew and translate it in English. I lived in Brooklyn, New York at the time. So Brooklyn, New York, my כולנו גם זייה ונגיע למנהג ישראל זה, וירצם השם יתברך שיגדלו ביחד עם זוגיות יחיה, לתויר ולחוג ולמעשים טבע ומתק החווה. זהו לשין כבדיש ומרוחם יאמרו בדבר גזיר ססיידס הפשרניש, ודבר גדול מנהג ישראל ויקראו בהכינות פרשרס פייס הריש. ויהיה מגזיזה בנוחס הפייס של הריש נוגו להגל לזתיניק בעניין נסיעס תהלסקוטן, ובארץ השחס ובארץ מקריש משלמיתה. והשם יתברך יהיה מזל ועזרם שיגדלו לתויר ולמעשים טבע ומתק פרנסה והרחובים לחסדס וגשמיס וברוכניס. To Rabbi Chassid, God-fearing person, respectful and distinguished Rabbi, may you be well. Greetings and blessings. On response of the notification of your son's Simcha, may it be the upcoming 3rd birthday, I'm attaching an excerpt from a letter from my revered father-in-law and teacher, the Rebbe, with regard to Jewish customs appropriate at that time. May it be God's will that you and your wife raise him and enable him attain Torah, marriage, and good deeds amidst prosperity, with blessings, the Rebbe's signature. This is a quote from my revered father-in-law and teacher, the Rebbe. With regard to a child's first haircut, the upshernish is a matter of great significance among the customs of Jewish people. Its essential purpose is to train the child to leave payos. From the day of the haircut, when the payos are left, it is customary to carefully train the child to wear a talis katan, which is the tzitzit, and to recite the morning blessings, the grace after meals, and the Shema before retiring. May God assist you in to raise your child and enable him to attain Torah, marriage, and good deeds amidst abundant sustenance and peace of mind in both material and spiritual matters. P.S. Of course, you participate and will participate with a great energy in spreading Judaism, and God should grant you success. May be seated. We make Kiddush every Friday night. Levi makes sure that I fill up a cup of grape juice for him as well, and we make the Kiddush. So Levi's going to stand up on the chair. Levi, stand up on the next one. Anyone who's watched, you can help yourself with the water, but we're going to make the blessing over the grape juice, and we have wine later. Okay, we're going to make the blessing that we must have in the Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. We wash our hands, and it's customary that there's 2 times when we wash our hands during the meal. And the first time we wash our hands, and Levi has always been excited when it comes time to washing our hands before we eat the bread. However, there's also a time when we wash our hands every morning. So this is actually Levi's very own washing cup and bowl that he has by his bed every night. So when he wakes up, of course a little bit ends up on the carpet, but it's okay, as long as we do education, Jewish tradition, that we wash our hands when we wake up in the morning, different than we wash our hands when we eat bread. And the way we wash our hands when we wake up in the morning is, he's busy having a drink.
This.
That's good.
Which day you wash them last night?
This. Giving Harrison glass.
Maybe we should sing happy birthday to Levi so you should realize that it's his birthday. Happy birthday to Levi. Happy birthday to Levi. Happy birthday to Levi. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Levi. Okay, so Levi, we're going to to show how he washes his hands in the morning when he wakes up, and the way we do it is once on the right and once on the left. Once on the right and once on the left. Once on the right and once on the left. And that's the way we wash our hands when we wake up in the morning. That's the way we wash our hands when we wake up in the morning, and the reason is our sages tell us that when a person goes to sleep, his soul goes up to heaven and he becomes spiritually impure, and therefore those who know that, God forbid, when we go to a funeral, we wash our hands when we leave. The reason is because our hands are spiritually impure, being around the dead corpse. When our soul goes up to heaven, we're considered like almost dead, so when we wake up in the morning, we have to wash our hands. So what goes after Kadesh? Orchatz. What goes after Orchatz? Karpas. Very good. So we dip some vegetable. Everyone is welcome to take a piece of vegetable and dip it into the hummus that's supposed to be on the table, or whatever. We'll make a blessing together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri ha'adama.
That's for him. Remember, you forgot.
Okay. But what we're going to do is we're actually going to dip the Hebrew letters in honey. And the reason why we do that is we want to show a child that the letters and Torah is so sweet, just like honey. So every time that Levi's going to say the letters, we're going to try to give him a little piece of honey if he's going to watch. Little something on this little honey, please? Nope. Okay. So we're going to say the Aleph base together. Aleph, Beis, Beis, Gimel, Dalet, Hey, Vav, Zayin, Ches, Tes, Yud, Kaf, Chav, Langer Chav, Lamed, Mem, Shlos Mem, Nun, Langenun, Samach, Ayin, Pei, Pei, Langefei, Tzadik, Langetzadik, Kuf, Reish, Shin, Sin, Kaf, and Saf. Let's see if we can go backwards. Saf, Kaf, Sin, Shin, Reish, Kuf, final Tzadik, Tzadik, final Fei, Fei, Pei, Ayin, Samach, final Nun, Nun, final Mem, Mem, Lamed, final Chaf, Chaf, Kaf, Yud, Tet, Chet, Zayin, Vav, Hey, Dalet, Gimel, Beis, Bet, Aleph. And now for the vowels. Kamatz, Katak, Sere, Segel, Shva, Chayla, Kiri, Kubut, Shuro, Chatav Kamatz, Chatav Pata, Chatav Segel, Chatav Segel, Chatav Pata, Chatav Kamatz, Shuro, Kubut, Kiri, Chayla, Shva, Segel, Sere, Pata, Kamatz. Okay. I guess he loves it, and therefore he doesn't even have to eat the honey because he knows that Torah is so sweet. He doesn't have to be convinced. Okay, so we have Kadesh. What goes after Kadesh? Orchatz, Karpas, and Yachatz.
Yeah.
So at this point in time, we're actually going to do Yachatz. Yachatz means we break something or we separate something. So we'll give the great honor to my wife, who's always been there to educate my child, our child, and therefore she will have the great honor of Yachatz cutting the ponytail off Levi's hair, from Levi's hair. I know it's a very emotional moment to everyone. But it's such an exciting time because now he's finally going to become truly educated as a Jewish boy, taking off his long hair and getting his payos.
It's going to be weird, man.
We remember Levis.
Afterwards, everyone's going to have a time to come up and cut his hair as well.
It's weird, huh?
She said I can't get in.
I know, look at that.
It's not easy easy to do that. You know, it's very emotional.
There you go.
You can do it. You can do it.
There you go, lady.
We need a barber in the house.
Where is that?
Okay, and as we go from Yachatz, cutting up the hair, separating the two matzahs, of course, we're going to go to Magi. And Magi tells us a story about how the Jews went out of Egypt. We will tell you a little story about Levi's bringing up an education.
Yeah, don't you like that? You might get it away though. Does it show you with his grandfather? Maybe grows up, I guess, with his sister. Wow.
Together that beautiful slideshow, Esther. Thank you. Okay, so we have Magid. Now we have Rachza. As we mentioned before, we have one way of washing your hands when you wake up in the morning, and we have another way of washing our hands before we eat the bread. So Levi both washes his hands in the morning and also before he eats bread. So he's going to show us how he washes the hands before he eats bread. Yeah, Mom. Not that.
Stop. No, look at me. Noah, look at me. Stop.
Beautiful. And the way we wash our hands for bread is 3 times on the right and 3 times on the left. And of course we'll make the blessing, but we're not going to make the blessing over here because we don't have any challah or matzah in front of us. But we do have the matzah crackers, which is mazonos actually. It's complicated to get into that right now, but it is mazonos. In any case, we go from rachza to motzi matzah. We make the blessing over the matzah. And as we mentioned before, that today is the Rebbe's birthday. The Rebbe made sure, one of his campaigns were to make sure that every single Jew has a place to go for the Seder. The Rebbe always said we have to worry about the fifth son, the one that does not have a place, the one who does not come to the Seder. We have to invite him to make sure that he comes, and also to make sure that every Jew has the shmurei matzah, the handmade shmurei matzah, to be able to fulfill the mitzvah, the commandment of eating the matzah on Passover. So before you leave today, the door prize will be a shmurei matzah. Make sure that everyone gets a handmade shmurei matzah to be able to eat at their Seder table. And then we move on to maror. Maror, we know, is the bitter herbs that we eat to remind us of the difficult times that Jewish people had while they were in Egypt. But maror also reminds us of the difficult times sometimes that we have through doing Jewish education, and sometimes it gets a little bit difficult, it gets a little bitter, it gets a little hard. But just like the Jews in the time of Egypt stuck it out and knew that when God said that He's going to take the Jewish people out of Egypt, He did so. So too we know that if we stay fast to the Torah and the mitzvos, we'll be able to overcome the difficulty of Jewish education. We also know that throughout the generations, whenever it became very maror, very bitter, Jews always turned to God. And one of the most important prayers they always used to say was the Shema Yisrael. So Levi always says Shema before he goes to bed. Levi, you want to show us how to say Shema? Maybe Mommy has a better way of making it happen. We'll say the Shema together with everybody? Okay, we'll say the Shema together. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. And then part of the custom of when we do in an upsherin is that we wrap the boy in a talit. And the reason is because we want to surround him with the beautiful love of Torah and mitzvot. And as he's wrapped in a talis, we say the special words of the Torah.
Why is that so fun?
And the custom is that we say words of Torah and we throw candies, and if you can catch it, it belongs to you, but you have to always remember that these candies are not kosher for Passover, so make sure that you eat it before Passover. And we tell the child that these candies come from the great angel Malach Michael. The angel is throwing these candies. So our sages tell, there's a beautiful story of one of the Chabad rabbis. He heard that Michael, the angel, is giving the candies. He took the candies and kept it in his pocket and didn't want to eat it until his father was checking the pockets before Passover and found the candy in there and said, "Why you haven't eaten it?" He said, "What do you mean? It comes from the angel Michael. How can I eat it?" So, but we have to know that although we tell the child that it comes from the angel Michael, of course it's really not that way, but we are saying that we are the messengers of Malach Michael. So we're going to say the sentence together from left. Okay, Tyra, Siva, Lanu, Cook Malach Michel's throwing the candies. Siva, Lanu, Moshe, Marasha, Gilas, Yaakov. Okay, he wins.
You never know what it is.
And then of course afterwards we go to Shulchan Aruch, which is the great meal. We invite everyone to please help yourself with a meal for the great occasion. Thank you, and we'll continue as we move forward with Tzafel Vera Halal Nirtzah. Please help yourself with something to eat and with some l'chaim as well. Come on. And we have actually little, in most cases we put the afikoman in a bag. So we have afikoman bags that we're going to take with us. They're not kosher for Passover, afikoman bags. So make sure they eat it before Passover. And that's what we're going to have instead of the afikoman. We're going to give you the afikoman as dessert. So we'll give you the dessert to go. Because just like the afikoman, one is not supposed to eat anything after this dessert. We don't want you to be eating anything after dessert. Of course you could. But the idea is to leave this same. Then Berach, in a couple of moments, we're going to do the grace after meal. Even though we did not wash, there's still a grace after meal that one has to make for eating snacks or things that are from wheat or grain, or even things that are made out of even chicken. There's a special blessing for that. Berach, Hallel. Hallel, which is we praise God. So we have very special prayers that we're going to say. And Levi says this every day, which is special prayers and verses. So we want to ask all the kids that know the song to please help us in singing the song of the first song that we sing with a Jewish child is Torah, 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 Tiva lanu Moshe, Torah, 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 Tiva lanu Moshe, Marasha Kehilas Yaakov, Marasha Kehilas Yaakov, Marasha Kehilas Yaakov, Torah, Tiva lanu Moshe. And then we go through, there's 12 passages that we say. So Esther Mushka, you want to please shim it? And you want to help us out? We're going to say the psukim together. 1, 2, 3, go. Shema! Shema, sing.
We're gonna sing this, let's sing about it.
Roel Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Chal Davadai Chayav Adam Thank you, Very good, beautiful. And then we sing a song to thank Hashem. How's the song go? Thank you, Hashem, for my mission. Oh, Maidani lefanecha velachai v'garu shechazarta b'mishmas. Thank you, Hashem, for my mission. Yay, thank you, Hashem, for giving me another day. So we want to thank God for this great opportunity that we have for this great, beautiful birthday. It's also customary that we have an egg. We start before we start. Berach, Hallel, and Nirtzah, the final song that we sing, and children will know this very well, is that we hope that next year we'll be in Jerusalem. So Am Yisrael have no fear, Mashiach will be here this year. Am Yisrael have no fear, Mashiach will be here this year. We want Mashiach now, we want Mashiach now, Mashiach now, we don't want to wait. We want Mashiach now, we want Mashiach now, we want now, we don't want to wait. Am Yisrael have no fear, Mashiach will be here this year. Am Yisrael have no fear, Mashiach will be here this year. We want Mashiach now, we want Mashiach now, we want Mashiach now, we don't want to wait. We want Mashiach now, we want Mashiach now, we want Mashiach now, we don't want to wait. Shana Haba, B'Yerushalayim, L'Shana Haba, B'Yerushalayim, L'Shana Haba, B'Yerushalayim, L'Shana Haba, B'Yerushalayim, Okay, we're going to do the grace after snack, which can be found on page 77. So if you had noodles, which is a mazonos, we will make the blessing. Can be found on page 77. Baruch atah Elo melech olam al hamichya ve'al hakakalot. If you had a drink of wine, ve'al hagefen ve'al pri hagefen ve'al tinumas hasadeh ve'al eretz chemda tova u'rechava sheratzisa v'yinchalta lavosenu le'achol mipriya v'lizboah mitzuba rachemna adon Elo al Yisrael amecha ve'al Yerushalayim yirecha ve'al Tzion mishkan kivodecha ve'al mizbechecha ve'al heichalecha v'nei Yerushalayim ir ha'kodesh meira v'yameinu v'aleinu l'socha v'samcheinu ba l'brecha v'kedusha v'tahara. 3 lines on the bottom, page 79. Ki ata adon tov u'meitiv la'kol v'nodeh l'cha al ha'aretz al ha'michya. If you had wine v'al pri ha'gafen, baruch ata adon al ha'aretz al ha'michya v'al pri ha'gafen. Page 81. If you had any type of beverage or chicken or anything like that, baruch ata adon Elo melech olam borei nefashos kavos kasunat al kol ma shebarasa lachayos bahem nefesh kachai baruch chei ha'olamim. And may God help that everyone is welcome to join us on the 11th of Nisan in exactly 10 years from now for his bar mitzvah, God willing, in the Holy Land of Jerusalem, the rebuilding of the third temple with the coming of Mashiach speedily in our days. For Levis, every day, when every person on their birthday has to take upon a achlata, which means a resolution that they're going to do something good. So for Levi, the resolution we've taken on upon him, that we're going to make sure that every day he will give charity, he'll give tzedakah. It's very important that we educate children. He wears a tzitzis every day, of course, but something to make sure that every day he's going to give charity when the day starts. So he starts off the day with knowing to give to other people and to help those in need. We ask everyone who wishes to help cut. Ladies here is welcome to come up and take a little snip, but it's custom that we give a little tzedakah, lady. Give a little tzedakah. Give a little tzedakah.
That works.
And God willing, we'll all see each other next year in Jerusalem. Give a little cover. Yay! Well, please make sure to get an afikoman bag on your way out and see me so I can give you handmade shmur matzah for the Seder. Wishing everyone a happy and kosher Passover. Thank you so much for coming, and may we celebrate many happy occasions together. You're welcome to stick around, say l'chaim, taste the wines. They complimentary from Friar Tuck. So please make your purchase for wine for Passover there if you wish. Thank you so much for coming. Wishing everyone a happy and kosher Passover.